No matter which Star Wars tribe you're currently in, most would agree that December 15th, 2017 is a day that changed the Star Wars community forever. And for the first time in Star Wars fan history, people were saying no. People were leading boycotts. Rian Johnson's addition to the Star Wars cinematic universe may have been the straw that broke the bantha's back, so to speak. But there are other forces at work here, like Disney, Lucasfilm, and the cultural climate of our own society, which all seem to have conspired to throw the franchise into chaos. There's a lot to unravel, so come with me on this journey as I take a closer look at what got us into this mess. Is Star Wars truly dead? And if so,
how is that possible?
Part one, I'm going to bring us back a little bit to what was going on before Disney and Lucasfilm joined forces. Because I think it's important to take a look at some of the tried and true formulas that Disney was bringing to the deal with Lucasfilm. And in order to do that, we have to go back to a moment. No, not that moment. This moment. There's no denying that Disney is unparalleled in the entertainment universe. Success in animated films, television programs, live action films, and theme parks. So Disney's business bag of tricks was well stocked before they signed those papers. And one of the things that I think affected the Star Wars universe very heavily is something I like to call the Princess Principle. A huge part of Disney's success is due to their legacy of feature animated films, which go all the way back to the beginning. And not only that, a large portion of that legacy rests squarely on the shoulders of feature animated lead-in ladies, the princesses. Disney's versions of the fairy tale princesses are probably the most recognized versions of those characters globally. And because the Disney princesses have been established for so long, Disney can redefine them, redesign them anytime they want on their terms. And currently they probably do that about every 5 or 6 years. A new energy and demand arose during Disney's Renaissance animated period, which was 1989 to 1999, with such movies as The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Pocahontas, Beauty and the Beast, The Rescue is Down Under, which actually didn't do that great, and gave us some of the most popular princesses to date, like Ariel, Belle, Mulan, Pocahontas. Fast forward to the year 2000, and Disney marketing gets a pretty great idea to turn the princesses themselves into a franchise within the company. They just named it the Princess line, which is an accurate, if not particularly imaginative title from one of the most imaginative companies on Earth. Anyway, so boom, the Princess line comes out. It's tremendously successful, and it serves kind of a twofold purpose. One, it stokes the nostalgia and the feelings that now grown women who grew up with the classic princesses when they were younger, it fulfills kind of the nostalgic feelings for that and makes them go, oh. The other purpose it serves is introducing new, younger generations of female Disney fans to the princesses and getting them hooked. Now, women are the biggest demographic of consumers who buy Disney merchandise, such as the clothing, things from the parks, online merchandise, Disney store merchandise. Disney knows that women are more exposed to advertising and branding, so they're looking at online shopping. They've got the kids right there going, I want that. So let's skip ahead to 2011, and the Princess line makes the company over $1.2 billion. Then skip ahead 2 years later to 2013, and who appears on the silver screen but the queen bee of princesses themselves. She's like the Terminator badass of princesses and the ultimate symbol of princess female empowerment. She don't need a man. She don't need an animal companion. She don't even need the castle that she already lives in. She like, shoot, I'm gonna make my own castle out of ice. And not only that, this movie is about two princesses. So the big innovation for Disney with that is that it's about the platonic love relationship of two sisters and how they support each other. So after that, princess power goes through the roof. And if you want to get a current barometer reading on how popular the princesses still are, take a look at Ralph Breaks the Internet. They've just rebranded the princesses again. They've given them all big saucer eyes to appeal to the style of anime, which is tremendously popular right now. In fact, it's very interesting to note just how similar these Forces of Destiny's dolls look to the latest versions of the princesses. And the princesses have been Shrek'd. They're sassy, snarky, they make fun of their own stories, and they're kind of shedding the romanticism and sentimentality of the stories that we know them to come from.
Girl night agenda, popcorn, smash the patriarchy, and if there's time, we'll watch 50 Shades of Grey.
So my point is that Disney strolled into the Lucasfilm deal with a very solid girl power business model in place. So if you combine a successful Disney line with the unprecedented success of Frozen, add a dash of social narrative about female empowerment and representation, particularly in the entertainment field, which has been taking place over these last 3 to 4 years. Hitch that wagon to probably the most successful film franchise of all time, which up till now had a previously untapped female fan demographic, add a dash of powerful Hollywood producer and self-proclaimed feminist, and you've got the perfect storm for a franchise combination that will drive profit and success into the stratosphere.
Especially once those pesky Skywalkers are out of the way.
And along comes Rey. She may not technically be a Disney princess, but she's got all the qualities that give her very wide appeal. She's everything you could want on a t-shirt. She's strong, virtuous, well-liked, a risk taker, learns abilities she never previously had in just a couple minutes, well-liked, strong, virtuous. Now, before anybody gets their metal bikini in a twist over my suggestion that Disney made a calculated move to inject the Star Wars franchise with a dose of Dame, hear me out. It's not an indictment of pure feminism or equality. But when profit is the bottom line, and it is, corporations don't just keep targeting fans and consumers they already know they've got in their grip. They start to try to reel in the newcomers. And let's not forget that culture has shifted. Movies don't just sell stories now, they sell ideologies. And if a movie is selling an ideology that you personally subscribe to, hot damn! Probably gonna buy the hat, probably gonna buy the sippy cup, and you're probably gonna buy the pretzel that's shaped like your ideology. The stronger the woman, the stronger the chance the merchandise will fly off the shelves. Bring on the ladies. The next time you go to any of the Disney theme parks, I want you to take a head count of just how many little kids are dressed up like Disney princesses. I also want you to take a look at how much merchandise and dress-up opportunities are custom tailored to young female park goers. So what does all this mean? I think it means that Disney came to the deal with a plan to profit off the power of princessness.
Your journey toward the park side will be complete.
If you've gone to any of the Disney theme parks within the last probably 5 to 10 years, you may have noticed that most rides now are either based on a film or there is a film based on a ride. One concept that seems to be paying off particularly well, especially for Disney, is the idea of turning film experiences into ride experiences. Even some of the original attractions like Pirates of the Caribbean and Haunted Mansion are now linked to an existing movie brand. I mean, look at what has changed. The Tower of Terror in Florida went away and became the Guardians of the Galaxy ride. China's Pirates of the Caribbean doesn't even have anything to do with the original ride. It's completely based on the movie. Back in the 80s, the original Star Tours was probably the beginning of this whole idea of like, you're not just going on a ride, you're going on a movie. But it didn't really pick up steam until around 2000 when they started doing the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay on the Haunted Mansion, and the floodgates opened. So the downside of this concept that I'm talking about right now is when Disney executives have to think about a franchise in those terms in relation to the park, it means that they have to make the product as appealing to as wide a demographic of people as possible. Quite frankly, you have to kind of dumb everything down. And to be fair, yeah, of course, George Lucas himself has made blunders in the Star Wars trajectory over time. But come on, it's been 40 years already. You shouldn't be making stupid story choices of this magnitude with these characters this late in the game. We've already seen this happening in the park with Star Wars for some time. Do you have an aspiring Jedi in your household?
Come to the Jedi Academy, where minimum wage Jedi Masters will teach your little Padawan the ways of the Force in 20 minutes or less.
Do you enjoy dancing and flash mobs?
Watch as the integrity of iconic characters you've grown to know and love gets completely flushed down the toilet while they participate in bullshit like this.
Hey Dad, how come at Disney World we saw Darth Vader dancing to Michael Jackson, but in this movie he's a murderer?
Well, Bobby, sometimes when two franchises love each other very much, one pays the other one off and then, you know what? It doesn't make any sense to me either, son.
Do you have a pretty basic understanding of the timeline and events of the Star Wars stories? I went to Walt Disney MGM Studios last year. This happened.
So I just got off Star Tours, and we had an adventure that was all Phantom Menace. We were in a pod race and all that stuff. They're not showing At least not on ours. They're not showing Last Jedi anymore. Even Star Tours gave up on The Last Jedi, which is pretty hilarious. We got a transmission from Princess Leia while we were having a pod race. I'm like, does anyone else? She's not born. She wasn't even born yet.
Remember when Kylo Ren was holding Darth Vader's crispy helmet because, you know, he's dead? Because they're 30 years apart and he's dead? Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore because they're on stage now together.
Timelines don't matter. Character integrity doesn't matter. When you take a franchise like Star Wars, which on the imaginative scale is right about here, and dumb it down to here to make it into a popcorn bucket, you're gonna lose something. On your way out, don't forget your souvenir photograph with an iconic Star Wars character.
The buck stops here.
Now it's time to talk about someone, and it's not the usual suspects you're used to hearing. Nope. I want to talk about Disney CEO Bob Iger. It seems to me that Iger has been left out of a lot of this discussion, and I'm going to suggest that he is in on this. Frankly, I think Iger knows exactly what he's got in the Disney female consumer demographic, and he's going to continue to pander to that and exploit it for profit. He's behind things like the show revision of Pirates of the Caribbean, where they took out the scene where the pirates were selling women and made it an auction where they're now reselling what they just stole to the pirates that came along with them, and turned the famous redhead into a new reimagined version of pirate female empowerment, because that would happen. And by the way, this pandering historical revision on a theme park fantasy ride seems to have been made for the same people who would be bitching about historical revision in the real world. Next, they're going to change the song and take out Yo Ho, because that's offensive to hookers. He's behind things like recently tweeting about how proud the Disney company is that 40% of their directors are female. Just a minute. I have absolutely no problem with that. No reasonable, logical person would have a problem with that. What I do have a problem with is giving someone a job based solely on their gender. I don't give a crap what color, creed, or size you are, but in the entertainment business, your ability should speak louder than anything. And the people in charge should be giving you opportunities based on that, not what's between your legs. In our current social climate, I totally understand corporations wanting to be as diverse as possible. But when you use diversity as a method and a placement tool to simply just go down a checklist and make sure you got everything that you listed, that's pretty demeaning to both men and women, because then you're making decisions based solely on what they are and not who they are. We're going to talk about this more later. Iger's job is now to sell Star Wars to as many people as possible, and that is not a job I envy at all, especially when you're caught between pandering, cultural politics, and profit.
We're thrilled that George has entrusted the future of his extraordinary legacy to the Walt Disney Company.
That's not how you use the Force. You do it like this.
No, it's not. It's like this.
You guys look ridiculous.
And this gives Disney infinite inspiration and opportunities to continue the epic Star Wars saga. We truly understand the responsibility that comes with being the caretakers of such iconic characters. And the addition of Lucasfilm will further our growth strategy and create even more opportunity for Disney to drive significant long-term value for our shareholders.
Oh, you heard that? You don't expect me to make part 2 on just coffee, do you? Thanks a lot for stopping by and watching. Stay tuned, and don't forget to like and subscribe.